So I've recently heard the controversy surrounding Donald Trump's bloodbath comments at a rally he did recently in Ohio. And the mainstream media, of course, has taken his bloodbath comments to mean something violent in regard to, I don't know, a civil war or something. They think that he's going to provoke. But the context of his comments have nothing to do with violence whatsoever. He's talking about the economy. He's talking about China building car manufacturing plants in Mexico and then trying to sell the cars to the United States, and that he's not going to allow that to happen without a large tariff. Okay, so here, let's take a look at the first clip where he's talking about the bloodbath in relation to the economy.
You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories.
And so when he says it's going to be a bloodbath if he's not elected, he's talking about the economy, that the Chinese are going to use the Biden administration in a way that benefits China and hurts the United States. Pretty common sense stuff, one that I happen to agree with. Then sometimes that clip, taken out of context, is put next to another clip later in the speech where he talks about that if he doesn't win the election, there's never going to be another election again. And they put those two clips together as though to say that his comments about there never being another election again are related to his bloodbath. So it makes it sound like he's saying there's going to be violence if he's not elected, and there's never going to be another election again. And this might be to insinuate that somehow by not electing Donald Trump, that there will be some sort of a civil war, and that perhaps this will result in there never being another election again, that one person will become the president in perpetuity. All right, so now let's watch the second video clip, which is roughly 15 to 20 minutes later in his speech. So it's not in the same context as the economy and in the same context as the bloodbath comments.
No wonder, it's really no wonder that Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They only know, and you remember this, we're the only ones, and they know this, that can stop them. We're the only ones. There's nobody else around. If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. Does that make sense? I don't think you're going to have another election in this country. If we don't win this election, I don't think you're going to have another election, or certainly not an election that's meaningful. And we better get out, I actually say that the date, remember this, November 5th, I believe it's going to be the most important date in the history of our country. I believe that. This country is weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference against Biden's top political opponent. Never happened. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen.
Okay, so both of these arguments are completely ludicrous because they're taken out of context. The bloodbath comment is related to the economy, and the comment about there never being another election again, if you look at the original video, he's not talking... The comment about there never being another election again is not related to the comment about the economy and the bloodbath. It happens several minutes later in his speech, and he's talking about the fact that the election system is rigged against him, that the Biden administration is doing everything they can to keep him from becoming president. And if he doesn't win, that type of behavior is going to be rewarded and continue so that the Democrats stay in power in perpetuity. That's what he's talking about. He's not saying because of a civil war or because of the bloodbath comments. These are completely unrelated to each other. So once again, the mainstream media is lying, and they're taking these comments out of context. Well, that's all for today. I would greatly appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe to this channel so I can continue to make more videos like this.